As you know, we like to bring you stories about people that have been very successful. I find our next guest interesting because she was in the human resource business. She still is, but human resource with a bit difference. I don't know how to explain to you, but you know, when you say to somebody, oh, I met her for the first time and I felt really good about this person, but you don't know why, you don't necessarily follow it through. But if you actually go to Executive Presence by Image Matters Asia, you're going to find out a lot more. I'm very pleased to welcome Kun Alisa Lohitnawi. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, you love HR so much, but I guess you're in the recruitment side of the business, were you?
Yes.
Many years?
Many years, 10 years.
And too much competition, decided to have a break? What made you move on?
Well, actually, when my last job was recruitment, and then what I did was I took off to the UK and did an image consulting course with the hope of using that to teach candidates on how to look better, dress better. But then I became very busy with training and hardly had any chance to do any more recruitment. So, yeah.
But you obviously enjoy the image aspect.
Yes, yes.
I look down your clientele and I see that you've got some very nice businesses to work with.
Yeah.
What is it that companies are now looking for as far as image? I mean, presence is one thing, but what else is it?
I think image as a whole is very important, and a lot of people still don't understand what it is. You know, they keep confusing that with personality, which is not, because image is, you know, your hair, your makeup, the colors that you wear, you know, the outfits and everything, and then personality, body language and everything. So I think a lot of companies who contacted us, when we asked them why is it that they, you know, chose to work with us, they always say they're looking for something new. Yeah.
It's interesting because when I first came to Thailand and we do media training, and we talked about body language, people just looked at us. And in actual fact, you know, at that time, Thais were not as Western 20 odd years ago, 15 years ago. But because we're picking up so many Western traits and things that we do and the body language, are we really now using body language more than we should?
Not really, no.
Or not using it enough?
We're still talking more. We're still using verbal communication more than non-verbal. Yeah, we're still doing that.
Right. So in other words, if I sit here and I do this with you, that you would say that was totally unacceptable?
No, I wouldn't say that, because, you know, you don't just read one sign. You could be sitting there doing that, but you could be smiling, and you're doing that because you're cold. Or it's comfortable. You know what I mean?
That happens. Yeah,
that
exactly.
happens. Like, I do my training for companies, and when I walk in, 25 senior executives, they all sit like that.
But it's to keep warm normally in Thailand because of the air conditioning.
Yes, or they're trying to give out the impression that they're listening, they're paying attention. What do you want them to do with their arms?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we always teach in media training that if you're doing an interview, never sit with your arms crossed, it's the distance apart and so on. But when you actually say to Thais, when you're doing Thai training, you know, people really understand more about you from your body language than sometimes verbal communication. Is that believable for the Thai people?
Yes and no. Yes and no. The ones who are more westernized understand it more. The local Thais don't really understand it.
So how do you obviously the business has gone well. How do you take it forward to the next step, and what is the next step?
Well, basically it really is up to the companies who've used us before to try and enforce or try and have, you know, more refreshing courses and all that. 'Cause it really, I mean, you cannot go in for 2 days, teach them something they've never known before and expect them to, you know, be good at it. So
the course is 2 days.
Yeah.
You actually go in for 2 days, and I go in and I think that I'm a good communicator, but maybe what I wear, the way I present myself, my hair, my body language, that's all the areas you work on.
yes.
When I come out after 2 days, how different am I?
Well, it depends. It's, you know, we give out these little, which I'll show you later, color palette we give out when we do your color analysis. I always say this is the first thing you can change if you want to. I give you 30 colors that are suitable for you. So if the colors you're wearing are not good for you, go back home and see if you have any of these colors, start wearing them.
Now, how do you learn about colours for other people? Is it purely the skin tones? Is it the hair colour? It's a whole combination.
Yes, skin, hair, eyes, yes.
And how many of us, I'm not sure about today, you see, how many of us wear the wrong colours?
Quite a few.
Quite a few?
Yes.
So, like today you're in black. Do you always wear black, and if so,
No,
why?
I used to always wear black.
Oh, did you?
Yes, for like years and years, God knows why. Used to do that, not anymore, no.
Okay, so then you actually went to this course, I guess in the UK, did you?
Yes, in the UK.
And they teach you about colour combination, what makeup you should use, what hairstyle and so on.
Yes.
I understand this for the ladies more than perhaps the gents. Like when you have to say to the gents, I don't want you to wear a blue colour shirt and I only want you to wear this colour tie. What's the feeling?
I don't think you can tell them what to wear and what not to wear. But
Just
you gotta give
advise.
them, just give them advice and what color suits them. And I think a lot of people are interested in finding out what colors they should be wearing.
A good business to be in?
I like it.
No, that's not the
like
question.
A good business in terms of
the acceptance of the business and the growth of the development of the business.
Yes. But it's a very hard business to grow because you're the only one doing all the training.
Right.
Yeah.
I was reading something else about a part of your business which is called Human Tell.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay, well, aside from image consulting, I also do this thing called credibility assessment, which in the West would be called deception training or lie detection. What happened was because I've always been interested in body language and did a body language course in the UK, and then I came across this guy called Paul Ekman.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever seen this show called Lie to Me.
Yes,
and
very
he's
good.
scientific advisor of Lie to Me. Anyways, Paul Ekman did a lot of research on facial expressions because we've always been intrigued in trying to find out, why people lie and how we can detect signs of deception. Anyways, because of that, he's trained the FBI, the CIA, and law enforcements, and especially after 9/11, because it's very important. And so he opened up in the UK. So I went and attended the course in the UK, and I'm now doing almost exactly the same. I teach people on how to detect lies.
Now, let me ask you a question. Here we go. Do Asians, let me say Thais, lie more than the Westerners? They may avoid the truth, right? There's a big difference, isn't there?
There's concealment and falsification.
Okay.
Depends what you're talking about. Concealment is when they're not telling you. They're
So
not
they just
giving you
don't tell you,
information.
which is
They
very
just don't-
Thai.
Yeah, which is very Thai. I
shut
think
off.
they do that a lot.
Very true.
Falsification, I don't think Thais do that
Who are
very
the
much.
worst?
Come
on.
Who are the worst?
Who are the worst in terms of a nationality?
I think we all lie.
I was reading something here that we lie.
Yes.
How many often?
3 times in a 10-minute conversation, believe it or not.
Really? So when we finish this interview, you will have lied to me 3 times.
Yes. Like, for example, you say...
little white lie, like
Yes,
Mr.
are you cold?
Kitty
And
Nut
I'd
says.
say, no, I'm not.
But you're freezing it.
I'm freezing. But, if I say yes, then what? You're going to turn everything off and... You know what I mean? Yeah.
So it's a little likewise that Kun Kitty Rat talks about that's not a problem, or it is a problem?
Well, sometimes it can be a problem, and sometimes it's not.
So, given the fact that this is something that we all have to come to terms with,
Yes.
how do you actually teach people? Does that mean they've got to think more about what they're saying, or
That's when Human Tell comes in.
How does it
Human
work?
Tell is actually developed by Dr. David Matsumoto. He's born and raised in Hawaii. He's Japanese, but born and raised in Hawaii. He used to work with Paul Ekman, and they develop all these tools, online tools of facial expressions, because they say to be able to detect facial expressions, you have to learn, you have to practice. Because if you blink, there's a book called Blink.
Yes, there
If
is.
you blink, you miss it.
And what happens if I touch my ear? Does that mean I'm lying?
That's different. That's not facial expression.
It's actually body
That's
language.
body language.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
manipulating. You're
Trying to get you on my side. So, who are the sort of people that will actually buy this course on Human Tell?
everybody who has to deal with people, because we all do want to know if we're being lied to.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
What
So-
about in personal relationships?
Yes, that's very important, but I don't really want to do that.
Why?
Because I think it's better to do it in the business sense. You
You
know
don't
what
want to
I
get
mean?
so involved, right?
No, don't want to get so involved.
It's too personal then,
Yeah,
isn't
plus
it?
I've done 2 courses for the Army Police.
Oh, okay.
And
Here.
Army Police and the Riot Police, and it worked very well. So yeah, I think it's
Of the 2 parts of your business,
Yeah.
do you see Human Tell, in fact, going far ahead of the other side of the business, where you're talking about the grooming of personality, of how you look, how you present?
I would say it's more tangible. It's more tangible.
People can touch and
actually,
feel it.
yes, they can. Whereas image consulting can be intangible if they don't apply whatever you teach them.
So this is much more fun than just HR, is it?
Well, oh yes, absolutely.
So when you
absolutely.
actually go back and you look at all those people that you employed and you think, look, I employed that person and it didn't work out, can you now look at them and say, I can now see why not?
Some of the
Sometimes.
cases, yes, and I was thinking just the other day, how come I didn't see it? How come I didn't? It's in all the 5 channels. We call it the 5 communication channels. It's in everything. But when you see someone who's too good to be true, you sort of think he's perfect.
Exactly.
That's
I've
it.
got to place him.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Well, I thank you very much for joining us. We
Thank
can learn
you.
out something every day. Alissa Lahitnawi, quite an interesting company, Image Matters Asia. Maybe you should get some more information on it, because I think it sounds very impressive. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Good morning. As my trip in Sukhothai draws to a close, I thought I'd do a little manual labor and earn my day's rice, as it were. And speaking of rice, what we're going to talk about today is a special organic farming where rice is what's for dinner. We'll find out not only about new strains of rice, which are better for you and repelling insects, but also some of the benefits this has for farmers in general. So don't go away. I'm joined today by Kun Wanli Praserthong Osot, who is the director of the Organic Agriculture Project here at Sukhothai Airport. Sawasdee krab. Now, we find a lot of organic products and produce in our stores throughout the country, but the actual process for a farm to become organic is not easy. How long have you had the farm here, and what did it take to gain that status?
Well, we have had this farm for about 8 or 9 years already. But in order to qualify to be an organic farm, you need 3 years of chemical-free practice in order to become an organic farm. And you need certification from the Ministry of Agriculture. They will send a team to inspect your method here.
Now, in terms of, that's maybe a good question to ask about, in terms of protection from insects, without the use of chemicals to control them, what are some of the methods you have done here to control those pests?
We have been using herbal solution.
And with all the success that you've had here at the agricultural project, what is going to be your hope for the benefit for not only the farm here, but the farms throughout Thailand?
Well, I can't claim that I'm successful now, but we're still doing it, and we would like to keep doing it because it's something that we can develop and we can help. We hope, that we can help farmers so that they would have new type of rice, which would be more nutritional, which will be easier to grow or withstand the insects better, and also good health for the farmers because they would not use chemical insecticides.
For those watching the show, Thailand is obviously very famous for the khao homali, the jasmine rice, but you also have some other strains as well that are not only delicious, but as you mentioned, very beneficial for your health.
We do have another fragrant rice. Khao homali is one type of the very popular, well known throughout the world of fragrant rice. But now we have fancy rice or color rice, which are rice with the red color or the black color or even gold color. But gold color is not commercially in the market yet, But now we have a good crop of red fragrant rice and black fragrant rice, which has a very high nutritional value, much higher than the normal white rice.
For everyone at home who would like to help support and even buy some of the, as you mentioned, these products that you've developed, how can they help?
If you want you are interested to try our new product, we sell it in Sukhothai. At Sukhothai Airport, we have one shop here, and also we have one at Bangkok Airways office.
Kun Wanli, thank you so much for inviting us here.